Well, happy Friday with your bad self. This is Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner, here today, co-anchor of After the Bell on our sister network, Fox Business, Melissa Francis, Democratic strategist and Fox News contributor, Julie Roginski, and national syndicated radio talk show host, America Now, and Fox News contributor Meghan McCain is in the house. And today's hashtag one lucky guy from Washington's WMAL on the radio. We welcome back to the couch former intelligence and Pentagon correspondent Chris Plant. His resume gets longer every time he comes on. He's outnumbered. Good to have you.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and welcome.
Thank you so much.
Meghan McCain, first timer.
I'm so excited. Yes, I watch the show all the time, so it's weird to be here.
And I think we need to give a shout out to Nana, right?
To my Nana, she's getting shout outs all over Fox. She thinks something has gone right in my life, that I'm now a member of Fox.
Well, something has gone right in our lives because you're a member of Fox.
And
so
Nana,
hi, Nana.
Nana is what, 104, you said?
103.
103. That's amazing. Wow.
Sharp as a tack and very
That's
involved
great.
in all our lives. So hi, Nana McCain.
Hey. Okay, we got a lot going on. Let's get to it.
All right.
All right. A new day, new drama for the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. A federal judge now says she did not comply with government policies when she used a personal email account while she was Secretary of State. That challenges her long-standing position that she did follow the rules. During a hearing yesterday, the judge also ordered the State Department to communicate with the FBI about Clinton's email server, that private one. That opens the door to an expanded inquiry. And depending on what the FBI finds, the judge could push it further. He had some harsh words for the former secretary, saying, quote, in court, "We wouldn't be here today if this employee had followed government policy." And in response to an argument against the investigation, he said, quote, "We're not talking about a search of anyone's random email," end quote. And then there's this. Reuters news agency is reporting an examination of the emails on Hillary Clinton's private server shows dozens of them contained information from foreign governments. Thus, according to the State Department's own regulations, were considered classified from the word go. That's kicking up new questions today about her claims that she never mishandled any sensitive government information. We bring it out to the couch. Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
Laughably absurd. She's asking us to believe the impossible. She's asking us to believe, pardon me, that for 4 years as the #1 cabinet officer, she never communicated any classified information by way of email. She never received any classified information by way of email, and that is completely implausible.
Julie?
Well, I can't speak to the legality of this, but from a political perspective and as somebody who runs campaigns, I don't understand the unenforced error. It just makes no sense to me as to why you'd open yourself up to this kind of exposure. Unfortunately, this is all that people are talking about. She's also not doing any national press for the most part. I know she's doing Ellen's show. But not really, right? But not really meeting the press, meeting the press, and I think that's a missed opportunity for her because it doesn't allow her to change the subject.
Well, she had a chance when she sat down with that very first reporter on CNN. She chose, I guess, to take the route of actually answering the questions about which makes a better impersonator, Amy Poehler or somebody else. You know, Meghan, I wrote down the words you just used, Julie. Unforced error. Is that what this is?
I don't know what this is, but I love it. I love every single second of it because every day the American public has more and more reason to distrust Hillary Clinton. The fact that she thinks she's above it all and is going to snap at Ed Henry, God forbid, we ask her a serious question about a possible felony charge. I can't believe what I'm watching. How has she not prepared at this point? She knew she was going to be the nominee. We're watching Democrats squirm, and I have a theory that Bernie Sanders' rise is not because America is ready for socialism. It's because people want anything but Hillary, and it's just awesome to be a Republican right now with 17 great candidates and her squirming all day long.
Wow. Express yourself. Hold on one second. I want to bring in Hillary Clinton's argument at this point, although we don't actually see her. Who we see is Brian Fallon. That's her national press secretary with a brand new video. It's on YouTube. We have this section of it. Look at who he blames.
Look, we fully expect that Republicans are going to continue to want to talk about Hillary Clinton's emails. And the reason for that is because they can't talk about their plan to grow the economy on behalf of the middle class. But that's what Hillary Clinton is fighting for. That's why she's in this race. And that's what voters care about.
All right, so for the first minute or so, Melissa, what he's talking about is he takes on each charge and he says, Fox News got it wrong. He calls us out by name. All these other people got it wrong, blah, blah, blah. But the party, the GOP. That's the problem here, not Hillary Clinton.
He looks like he's reading. I mean, he looks so uncomfortable. It is so painful to watch.
It's such
this
bad
didn't
spin.
happen. You know, I'll tell you, one of the most interesting wrinkles in this to me is this company, Platts River Networks, who is the one who did the backup work on the server and the cybersecurity for her server. They have been drawn into this, and I feel for them in a way because they're getting death threats and people are after them and they're in the spotlight. Frankly, if I had accepted a contract to do cybersecurity work for Hillary Clinton, I would just assume that I'd be pulled into some sort of federal investigation at some point. So I would have built that into my bid. But what they do is they do, you know, the backup work for a server. We all know how that works when it says archive your mail, this and that. Later on, when people say emails are gone, the FBI is already looking at this company. They have a lot of information, and they know exactly what they have.
Yeah.
And that's going to become a big part of the story that you don't want to take your eye off.
And what I've argued all along is they know in their own house exactly who's looked at this information. I don't think Hillary Clinton has any idea exactly, maybe even in her own team, who's looked at this, because there were so many people who were tasked with deleting and this and that and the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I just say that if we discovered a mole working for Vladimir Putin in the State Department that had redirected every single one of the secretary's emails coming and going to an unsecured server in an apartment in Denver, we'd put that mole in prison for 30 years.
Yeah.
And to
it's
be
a
fair, the
right-wing
apartment's in New
conspiracy.
Jersey, actually. The company's in Denver. I bet they wish they could move to Jersey.
It keeps moving around, doesn't it?
I wrote something down that you just said real quickly. This is such bad spin.
Such bad spin because they keep saying it's a right-wing conspiracy. And every time Hillary Clinton does something wrong, it's not a right-wing conspiracy. Asking her tough questions isn't a right-wing conspiracy, and it's just what they're going to. And again, it's just bad spin. Whoever is doing all of this for her, I cannot believe who's in
But
charge.
let me just quickly say this, because this is exactly what she should be doing. She should be changing this. She should be changing the subject from a political standpoint, and she should be talking about the fact that her policy differences are what she's running on with the Republicans, because the Republican policies are not what's embraced by her base. She needs to reassure her base, and that's what that was about.
Speaking of a strong base and a Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump expecting huge crowds tonight.
Huge.
In Alabama, the front runner moving his town hall rally from the Mobile Civic Center, which holds about 14,000 people, to this stadium. Look at this, home of the annual Senior Bowl college football all-star game, which holds about 50,000. And city officials are scrambling to accommodate what could be the largest event for any 2016 candidate so far. Meantime, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani comparing the Donald to a pair of political legends last night on Greta. Listen.
This idea that, you know, he made a transformation. So did Ronald Reagan, so did I, and so did Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill used to say, if you're not a liberal when you're 20, you have no heart, and if you're not a conservative by the time you're 40, you have no brain. And many conservatives at one time were liberals and saw the failure, particularly in a city like New York, of the liberal policies. The city I took over was ruined by liberals. He lived in that same city. He saw the same thing I saw.
Julie, that was causing you physical pain as it was going by. I'm looking at you, you're in agony.
It was causing me, it was causing me amusement that the hubris of somebody comparing themselves to Ronald Reagan and Winston Churchill. It was Ronald Reagan, Winston Churchill, and me, Rudy Giuliani. I mean,
So you're saying that politicians are egomaniacs? I've never heard anyone say that.
I've never
Stop
quite
it.
seen that kind of egomania before. The guy that won World War II, the guy that won the Cold War, and me, Rudy Giuliani, who cleaned up Times Square.
All right.
It is an interesting phenomenon. You look at Politico had an article today. One of the quotes: "If Jeb Bush, Hillary Clinton, or any other presidential candidate said the things that Donald Trump has said," speaking of language, "his or her campaign would already have died in a pile of negative headlines and video clips. It is evident that the regular rules do not apply to him," meaning Donald Trump. What's more, the press corps is beginning to realize that nothing it might do, no report it can publish, no question it can ask, has the power to push this candidate an inch off course that is preordained for him. Megan, let me point this question to you.
Sure.
Because your dad is somebody who he took a shot at.
Everybody loves asking me the Trump question.
So
My family
I can't help it. I mean, I
No,
can't
it's totally
help
fine.
it. I can't help it. You know, I mean, he said we were all pretty shocked when he said that basically he was a loser for being captured. Why do you think these things don't seem to have an impact on his campaign?
He's Teflon, he's bulletproof, and I think it's just this crazy reaction to Obama being so PC, so scripted, this rock star.
People are sick of it.
I just think people are craving something authentic and real, even if it is this. Going back to the original question about Ronald Reagan, everybody compares themselves to Ronald Reagan. I worship at the altar of Ronald Reagan like all good Republicans, but Ronald Reagan was a uniter. He worked with Tip O'Neill. His legacy is one of uniting the Republican Party, and right now, Donald Trump is incredibly divisive. So for him to compare himself, or for Rudy Giuliani to already jump to Reagan, I think is a
Chris?
Ronald Reagan was accused of being a divider when he was campaigning in 1980 and tearing the country apart, and he was going to get us all killed in a nuclear holocaust, and he was a threat to humanity and to mankind. I was glad to hear Julie say that Ronald Reagan won the Cold War.
Well, I guess that's the Rudy Giuliani talking point. I'm not so sure that I agree with all of that.
But Donald Trump, Donald Trump is a unique political figure right now. I mean, maybe a century ago we had someone else like him, but we're just sick and tired of all the politicians. The politicians have failed us. Washington has failed us again and again. Mitch McConnell has failed us. John Boehner, Reince Priebus, they've all failed Republicans. So people are looking elsewhere, anywhere, and this guy stepped up.
Harris?
First of all, I take issue with the premise of the notion that the media are out to get anybody. So I just want to go back, if we can, to that Politico quote, because that's not our goal. Our goal is just to get the facts out there, let people make their own decisions about it.
I think the liberal media is out to get a lot of people, especially conservative women. I would go tell you.
But with regard to Donald Trump, I would say this. The one thing that he has on his side right now is momentum. I mean, literally, he sticks his toe outside his threshold in the morning, and he's already moving.
Yeah.
And once he gets through with this event tonight, if in fact thousands more people show up than were anticipated, and that's why they had to move the event, I mean, then he can talk about that momentum, and that's a whole different topic.
I like this quote about him wanting to charge for his interviews because he knows that everyone's ratings are going up with them. Because I know as a businessman that is killing him, that he's not licensing all these appearances and this thing at the stadium. You know he wants to charge for it. I love it. Anyway, President Obama taking new action, trying to make sure Congress rubber stamps the Iran nuclear deal. What he just did, and whether or not it was even necessary. Plus, no apologies from Jeb Bush for using the term anchor babies when talking about illegal immigration. It is a phrase that Donald has used before, but Jeb, not so much. Raising the question, how much is Trump shaping the debate? And what could it all mean when it comes to the crucial Latino vote? We'll be right back.